Hey yo, cue a sound effect.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BJ, the DJ, coming to you on behalf of Over the Top with Chad and Tony. This is another rapid review. For this particular rapid review, I wanted to do something just a little bit different. I follow a bunch of wrestling pages, and there was something that came across the screen, and it was a picture of Sting and a picture of the Undertaker, and it said, "Who is the biggest star?" My thoughts and opinions on this particular subject are not the same as my co-host. It's not the same as anybody on Over the Top with Chad and Tony. These are my own personal beliefs, and what I don't want to do is I don't want to downplay the careers of either of these gentlemen. I have enjoyed watching their bodies of work for many, many, many years. This is, again, a personal take on who I feel had a bigger career between Sting and Taker. Most of you know, like, Taker has been the benchmark as far as performers, professionalism, leadership. He has been the benchmark for WWE for many, many years, more so like the measuring stick, right? Sting has always been viewed as the franchise of WCW, and although he has appeared in other companies, I feel like he has still at that point been the focal point of a lot of the story that is being told in those companies. So a bunch of us thought when Sting joined WWE, I think it was 2013, around that time frame, I guess everyone thought, just like I did, that we were going to finally get Sting and Taker, but we didn't. We got Triple H and Sting, we got Seth Rollins and Sting, and we got Undertaker and I think Bray Wyatt that year at Mania. Although great match, we'll say that. I just don't know why we didn't, as a fan base, get the only match that mattered at that point to us was Sting and Taker, but we didn't get that. If I look at the peaks of these individual careers, I feel like, for me, I don't think if Taker would have jumped ship at the height of the Attitude Era and jumped over to WCW, I don't think he would have been used in the same capacity as he was with WWE. Meaning, I think a lot of people who were jumping ship and going over there outside of Hall and Nash, I think they were being used to service Hogan, right? I think it would have been used. They would have fed him to Hogan. Hogan would have got his revenge from Tuesday in Texas or whatever that was. And then Taker would have just been kind of like an afterthought. Now, I want to say that his character would have been strong enough in WWE if the opposite would have happened, that he could have withstood that test, right? As we've seen, Sting coming over, he was not showcased like what we were used to seeing, right? I think Vince viewed Sting as more of a commodity and not more so as a marquee. So he felt like less was more with Sting at that point. If the roles were reversed, obviously, with Sting in the height of his career, and he would have jumped over to WWE, I feel like he would have been a huge star. At the height of the Attitude Era, Sting jumping over with the Crow gimmick, they could have copy and pasted. What he was doing with the Crow gimmick in WCW could have been the same he was doing in WWE, and I felt like it would have been perceived better at that time, right? I'm not saying that I feel like Sting is a bigger star than Taker. I just feel like the longevity of the two stars, I feel like less was more with Taker. The more we saw of Taker, I guess we saw, and he mentioned it in his documentary, I'm not saying anything that's not been put out there, the longer he stayed around and the more he tried to do, it just showed how limited he could be, right? The time off really took a toll on him. Sting never really took the time off. So Sting jumping from WCW right into TNA, from TNA to WWE, and then right into AEW, even at 60 plus years old, Sting was able to still perform at a high level, but he also did great about Sting knew his limitations, so Sting would, I think, not do more than what he felt his body could do, and I feel like that is what's made him a overall greater performer, right? You know what I mean? So for Sting to go as hard as he did, for as long as he did, I think kind of puts him above Taker in my book or my eyes or whatever. Clearly they were doing this from a comparison standpoint because that's the one match we never got. I mean, obviously there are others, but we never got that match. And the one time we felt like we could, it wasn't even a thought. And I feel like at that age, Sting and Taker at that age would have been a safe bet because there wasn't much that needed to be done to tell the story there. And then you could have built off that with a Bray Wyatt feud, a Kane feud, all those guys that had similar type of eerie characters as Sting. I would have loved to have seen when Sting was there in WWE, but we didn't get that. So again, respect to both of these guys, man. Their longevity in the business and the characters says a lot, you know, because you can put a character out there and it not withstand the test of time. But for two of these characters to stand 40 plus years just says a lot about the people performing that character. I'm a huge Sting fan, always have been, from Surfer Sting all the way to Joker Sting to the Icon Sting. So obviously I'm going to lean more that direction. Again, not excluding Taker in any sense. And, you know, Taker's brother-in-law is a friend of the pod, so definitely don't want to step on any toes there. I think he's a great performer. And many of my favorite moments as a child were watching Taker perform. So all in all, you know, it's going to be to each their own, I think, when it comes to this topic of conversation. But for me, I'm leaning more toward Sting. I think his career, his longevity in the game was just a little bit more solidified because he was the focal point of so many stories at the other companies. When at his age, he shouldn't have had to have been. But I guess that just shows the star power. I don't doubt that Taker could have done the same, but his loyalty to WWE just to me just kind of limits him in that conversation. So that's what I got, man. This BJ the DJ. It's been a rapid review on behalf of Over the Top with Chad and Tony.
Hey, yo, cue a sound effect.